All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are here on the Lance Cade Tribute Show, and on the line with us, we have Les Thatcher. Les, how are you doing?
I'm doing real good today. How about yourself?
Wish we could be speaking on different terms, but, we're here to celebrate the life that was Lance Cade, and we've got a few questions for you, so if you don't mind, let's go ahead and get started.
Absolutely. Lance was a great guy, and I'd be happy to answer anything you'd like.
I got to ask you, being that you were around Lance for a while, what is one thing you think Lance will want his fans to remember him for?
Wow. Really, I think his work ethic. When the year he spent with me here, he was very dedicated, very serious about training, about getting better, and I think that stood out. He was a real, what do I say, even guy on an even keel. He had a temper, but Lance was pretty much just would roll with the flow of everything. So I think probably that would be the way he'd like to be remembered.
Now, you just brought up that he was there for a year. What is one story or maybe even a couple stories that really stick out to you about him or times you shared together?
Well, the funny thing was, I teach all of the guys that start with me all learn to call a match in the ring. And when Lance first came in, he had the same look, hair, and so forth as one of the kids that started with me. So I put them together as a team. One of the reasons they didn't gel was because Lance was fearful of calling a match in the ring. And the kid that started with me, that was the way he usually lay the finish out match. So anyway, this was just something that, so I separated them. And anyway, Lance worked out better as a heel and did really well with Steve Bradley and Mike Sanders and that bunch of guys. So anyway, fast forward to finishing up his run here, and we were doing our last TV at OVW Studios, and Lance was my heavyweight champion at the time, and we're switching the belt over. And so anyway, they had a very good match. They came to the back, and as Lance came through, Jimmy Cornette and Danny Davis and I were in the office, and Lance came through. We told him what a great match it was, and we thought it was really good, and appreciated him doing the job on his way out. And he turned to me and he said, "And we called it all in the ring." And he was just so proud of that because he had progressed, and that is the art of the work, honestly, But anyway, that and the fact that we kind of played with him a little bit, trying to get his personality to come out. They had him come out dancing to, I can't remember what the song was now. But anyway, it was a rap song, right? And as a cowboy, but the point was, it wasn't to make fun of him. It was to bring him out and make him, physically project himself a little more, and it worked. I think he progressed a lot for us here.
Now, if you were to write a book about his life, what would the title be?
Wow, you know what? A young man, wow, I don't know. You put me in a real bind there. I really don't know, but I think it was always Lance was, a fresh scrubbed all-American boy look, really, and a young man just pursuing his dream, and trying to deal with life along the way, follow your dream and while you deal with life or something like that. I don't know. I don't know really what to tell you, but that really stands out to me, I think.
Now, my co-host Andrew Carlick has a couple questions, so I'm gonna kick it over to him.
All right, fine.
Hey, Les. Sorry if these circumstances are speaking with you, but what's one thing you're gonna miss about Lance Cade?
We got to be buddies, I think, and sadly enough, the last time that we had a chance to talk was when Steve Bradley had passed away. And, we both were really like Steve, and he meant a lot to us. And, it's just, Lance was easy for me to get along with, easy for me to work with. And like I say, he rolled with the punches, and we all, I don't care what it is, who it is, we all go through, life with something we don't like, and we have to do something we don't like. But he was, he was real good with it, and he tried to adapt to everything, and I think that's it makes it, as a trainer, as a promoter, it makes things a lot easier on those when we have to do our job. And Lance was very easy to work with.
Okay, and
now I would say, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say that he was the last, of course, no one knows for sure exactly what the cause of death is, heart failure. But, I know I hear all the talk about drugs, and I realize that, he did have a problem. But when the time he spent with me, he would have been the last guy, the very last guy, I think, that I would have thought would have ended up like this. And, that makes it even sadder, I think. I was thinking about it today, doing this with you guys, and I thought, during the year he was here, I think my guys were drug tested twice during that time, and I don't even remember him showing up with anything, through that whole period of time. And I never had anybody who was serious, with anything like that, but he was. I think he tested clean off every time. So he would have been the last guy that I would have suspected, that it would have come down to this, and that makes it even sadder, I think.
Yeah. What do you feel was Lance's true passion in life out of the ring?
You know what? I think really his family. I think he enjoyed being a family man. Now his daughters, I never had the opportunity to meet. I got to know his wife a little bit and his stepson. But I think Lance really enjoyed that. And, because as far as hobbies, I don't really know that he had a hobby as such, but I know he enjoyed, being with his family. And I know, I've heard him lament different times, about how much he missed his family when when they were apart for a long period of time. So I think maybe that would be it.
Okay, and what's one of your favorite out-of-the-ring stories about Lance that you can share with our listeners?
Beg pardon? I'm sorry, I missed you.
What's one of your favorite out-of-the-ring stories about Lance Cade that you can share with our listeners?
Well, I think, what I said earlier, I think, as far as telling stories, I don't know. Again, I think just watching him progress and watching him grow, watching him come out of the shell. He wasn't necessarily in the shell, but he just, he was reserved more so in the ring, and to watch him evolve and grow in that year's time, I think, and then watching him and Murdoch in WWE and thinking what the opportunity, and then I don't think they really expounded upon the whole tag team. Well, they as we all know, they don't do that a lot. But I think that watching those two guys evolve as a team, and then realizing that they weren't, they still had more to go, and they did get the opportunity. And I look at all the guys that have trained with me, not necessarily started with me, but have spent time with me as my kids. So you like to see them progress, and you feel their pain. I communicated with Rudy Boy Gonzalez, who's helped start Lance at Sean's place. And we were trying to, how do you deal with this? And I said, you can just do what you can do and give of yourself, and everybody makes their own decisions. But, and Rudy was saying the same thing. It was like one of his kids. And so and maybe the funny thing is, the first person that told me that Russ Haas had passed away was actually the first two people were Lance and Steve. They came into the office that Saturday that they found Russ, and they were the first two that made me aware that it had happened. And I just, wow. It's a real travesty, and it's bad enough to, just waiting on news on Johnny Walker, Mr. Wrestling 2, and with his heart surgery, and you realize as we all get older that we start coming apart. John and I've spent a lot of time on the road, but with Lance, having spent a lot of time with him and seeing his ups and downs, just the fact that he's gone and at such an early age is really a travesty. Everybody's trying to point fingers, and it ultimately comes down to you make your own choices. Things don't fall in place for any of us, I don't think, and especially in the entertainment / sports, professional sports, there's a lot of pressure, and everybody deals with it differently, or don't deal with it at all, or find some varying degree in the middle there, and so it's just. It's really been a tough week with he and wrestling too, both in this situation, and wrestling through with a heart attack. But I just I can't say enough good about Lance and knowing him and my time with him, and we all have our crosses to bear, and we all have our demons. They all come in different sizes, shapes, and forms. But so you just got to understand if you knew the guy, the real guy, and I've heard some of the stories that he was followed his ego up there, and that I couldn't say. I can only say what Lance Cade and I knew, and it was an enjoyable time, and I really feel his loss.
Okay, just one last question, Les. What did Lance Cade mean to the wrestling business, in your opinion?
What did he mean to the wrestling business?
Yes.
Well, I don't think his potential was really ever tapped. I think they probably had started to do that when they had him involved in the deal with Shawn and Jericho. But I don't think they ever really tapped him. And for what reason, I don't really know. I think, like I say, especially with Ian Murdoch, and even regardless of this silliness of Murdoch trying to sing, I think there was more to them as a heel team, and they could have done better. Or been used. I shouldn't say they could have done better. They could have been utilized better as a team. I don't think his potential was ever reached, sadly enough. And I think he had a lot more to give. It's just never it was never the right time or the right place. So as much as he may, he followed his dream, lived his dream to a certain degree. I think, to give him his due, there was more to him than was brought out, and in our business, sadly enough, that happens a lot. You got to be in the right time, the right place, in the right environment, the right political thing, as it is today, to get the chance to share what you have. And I don't believe he ever really got that opportunity. But wow, I think when he worked hard and he contributed. And I think that's all you can ask for any of the guys, because the business takes more out of you than you ever take out of it. I don't care if it's financially or emotionally. I think you have to give more to get something. So Lance is unfulfilled, sadly enough, and I hate that he won't get the opportunity to show what I think was there.
Well, I want to thank you for joining us. And, is there anything that you never got to say to Lance that you would like to say, or maybe that you never got to say about Lance to his face?
I think the last time that we talked, again, it was just after Steve had passed away. And I think at that point I said, I love you guys. And well, he and I actually had communicated after that. But, I mean, that was a long conversation we had due to both of our caring about Steve. But I think he knew that I cared about him, and that if he needed my help or wanted my advice, I'd be more than happy to be there for him. So no, I accept that he'll be missed, and I'm sure it's such a burden on his family, to lose him so young, and it's I know as a father myself, it's tough. It's got to be tough on his dad to realize that his son's gone before he is. I think that always makes it tougher as well. So, no, I care a lot about Lance. He worked hard for me. I think we had a good relationship, and if he's listening, I hope he, in some ways, or just to reiterate that and to know that, that he's in my thoughts and my prayers. Well, thank you guys, and again, maybe we'll do it sometime when it's on a little brighter note. But thank you so much for allowing me to say my piece about Lance.
Thanks a lot, Les.